Check out that mound. I'm up here in Long Island exploring these ancient mounds where there's tons of artifacts. I mean, these mounds are covered in crystal artifacts. And then they dug out these big wallows, like this is kind of like a wallow, to make the mounds. And then they put their marker stones up there. And most of the stones aren't sticking out of the hillside anymore because the overburden has taken over. So back in the day, there was no vegetation, no plantation, no trees over any of these mounds. And they were just big, covered mounds of artifacts and crystal artifacts. That's what they are, okay? And then in here is where people came and put smaller mounds, right? That's a little mitten mound right there because there's artifacts there. Here's another little mitten mound right here, okay? Nobody came back here and did this back in the day because that's a cut artifact, okay? Truly amazing. And there's all marker boulders and there's all artifacts. And I had just got a really amazing artifact just right up there on top of that. See that big round one right there? Okay. And then there's another one here. These are massive. And then there's a big wallow over here, like a wet area, right? Because when they dig these out, there's usually like some sort of a pond or a swamp. And then there's a mound on the other side over there. And there's mounds everywhere. This is like all the people in the area want to be buried here back in prehistoric times. I'm talking tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and millions of years ago. I'm not kidding you. That's how far back in time many of these mounds go. And the bigger the mound, the older they are, and the bigger the giants were. Pink pudding stone, right? And look at it. So these are all cut. These are all artifacts. Everything you see here is an artifact. Or was a stone that was used. It is. Whoa. Whoa. Okay, we're gonna pull this one. Right? I just pulled it out of the bike trail because there's tons of artifacts. There's all mounds up here. This thing is truly amazing, and it was all cut and worked. Look at that. Okay, this is an ancient artifact. Look at that. This is not from any glaciers. People say, hey, it's from the glaciers. You can keep saying it's from the glaciers because you're going to believe the religious groups and the ones in control of all the BS. And it's supposed to be a mammoth. It's absolutely amazing artifact. Truly amazing, and it's got all the faces along the edges. And it was used, I mean, or was it just used for a burial head? I'm not really sure. I believe they might have used this. This is the area that was out of the ground, so it was being washed off by the weather. And this is the area where it was submerged by the soil. And it was being pushed up on this bicycle trail by these, by the trees, right? Because this is mounds. I'm up on top of a mound here. The mound goes down. Okay, just to show you. All marker boulders and there's all artifacts. And there's a mound here. There's mounds everywhere. There's huge wallows. It's mind-boggling. So what do you think this artifact? Has anyone ever seen one like this? Because I found them in Roxbury Township, New Jersey, even bigger than this, had a serpentine. And this thing is like green. It's actually amazing. And I think it's petrified wood. And they had to cut. They had to use it. And there's a mammoth. Turn it over for the mammoth truck. Thanks for watching. Long Island, New York, where the artifacts are huge. But there's a massive mounds that they don't want to bring recognition to because of all the corruption.